got Memphis taken care of. Really nice win for Memphis. Maybe they can build on it. UConn came in number 2 in the country. And from the very beginning of this game, you could see Dan Hurley was absolutely on one. He was staring holes through the officials. He obviously we know he's going to do that every game. We know he's going to give the officials the business every game. It's just kind of what he does. But this felt elevated, and it was going on throughout the game. The bench gets a tech early in the game. He obviously gets a tech there at the end of the game. I think we have some audio here from Dan Hurley, sort of discussing the technical and the foul that led to his reaction. Let's hear from Dan Hurley first, and then we'll sort it all out.
But I had a lot of issues with what went on out there in the game. That over the back call at that point of the game, there was no attempt to block out. There was a player on Memphis that made a half-ass effort to rebound that basketball, and Liam McNeely high-pointed that rebound. For that call to be made at that point in the game was a complete joke, all right? And then for me, I don't know what happened. I might have lost my balance by the absurdity of the call, or maybe I tripped. But if I made that call at that point, I would have ignored the fact that I was on my back. If I made that call, I would have ignored that. I would have ignored that. That was a major, obviously a major. How you could call that while that game was going on, the way that game was going on, is just beyond me. But I know, I've never seen the one ref before. I didn't even know he was a college ref. And then, you know, I'm familiar with the other two, so I'm not surprised.
There you have it from Dan Hurley. Tyler, you're an intense guy, man. I feel like on some level, you and Dan are spirit animals. So, do you agree with him? Where do you come down on what happened at the end of this game today?
I love watching Dan Hurley. I get a lot of comedy out of his reactions, but I've always said I thought he was on one tonight, and I thought he had some extra to it. Personally, if I was a ref, I would have checked him early. I would have given him a tee early to kind of set the tone, so we're not going to allow that. Right to Hurley. I think if you allow Hurley to get away with some of his antics, you can't expect him just to clean that up late in the game. I definitely didn't think he should have. If you're going to allow it early, don't hit him with the tee late in the game. And I understand that he's probably crossed the line, but he probably crossed the line in the first half as well. So you can't allow that. But I didn't think I thought they made the wrong call as well. I thought McNeely went up, got the ball. I thought he was a bigger player, made the more athletic play. And I thought it was, a no call. But, a lot of calls I think are no calls or fouls now. So I understand that, but I do think that the ref should have hit him with the tee early. And, a lot of things that he said or done, he did the same things early on in the game that deserved the tee.
So me,
John?
I'm with Tyler on this one, man. Definitely refs could have set the tone. I love that take from him, and also his reaction to it. Ego's a real thing, man. Some of these coaches have ego in it, and it reared his ugly head. This post game. He could have been more graceful in defeat. You just won 2 national championships. You won like 45 out of conference games in a row. Like, it's going to happen. So Hurley could have handled it better, but we're all human, and I feel bad for Colorado tomorrow. I'll tell you that. It might get ugly down there in Maui for them.
With that said, I do think that Dan Hurley is going to learn a lesson, and as competitive as he is, and how he teaches his teams to be disciplined, I don't see him getting in that scenario again. I think he's going to learn from this. And a good question to ask is, what does he think justifies a technical foul? Because it looks like he said everything. He was on the ground. How do you have to? Where do you draw the line? Where is Hurley, like, in his mind? Where does he think he's like? How do you think what deserves a technical? He was on the floor, rolling around, cussing, yelling at these refs. Good God, I would have hit him early. But yeah, I think he's going to learn from this. And, you know, as competitive as Hurley is, I guarantee you he's asking himself in his mind. He won't admit it though, but he may be a little disappointed that he got that tech. And he should be upset about the call because, you know, that's him. But he could be upset or question himself at times too.
Yeah, I think Dan Hurley is an amazing asset for college basketball, like flat out. That's the first thing, right? Like I think you have 350 some odd schools, and of those 350 some odd schools, most of those coaches just don't register. Like think about how many coaches we don't even have opinions about, right? So I think the fact that and he leans into it, right? He leans into it. He's a great villain because, you know, I guarantee today, Memphis fans loved beating his ass today. And you haven't been able to say that a lot over the last 2 years, right? And when he beats you, you're going to hate it. You're going to have trouble going to sleep at night. You're going to be so mad about it. So I think he's really, even though I do believe he cost his team the game today, I think there's just something sort of from a larger picture standpoint, he's so good for the game of basketball that, you know, if you're an official, it's hard to find that balance, John, because you're like, this guy is such an important character, you know, to this sport. How do you know, how do I know? How do I know when I've gone too far and when I have to step in?
Yeah, and you know, it's kind of like, man, you know, when the Warriors won their championships, man, like, I mean, they could get away with murder talking to the refs. Like that's for some odd reason, man. That's just how it goes, man. Even when the Heat were on their run, like every call was like hands in the air, like whoa, you know, like you didn't foul. So to see, you know, Hurley kind of, I mean, he started off. He started off probably the first 2 minutes. I mean, he was like going nuts. Yeah. So, you know, I think this was a good lesson for him. I think he's going to learn from this.
You guys both think he's going to learn. You guys think he's going to change.
He's gonna have to listen. It's tough giving a team next possession and losing the game by those 2 points that you gave away. So yeah. I'm sure it's hitting him harder, and like you said, he's not going to admit it to the media, but it could have been handled better. But no one's perfect, and Hurley has been Hurley in the last 2 years. We've loved him. Oh yeah, we love, but you know, so now are we going to jump off the bandwagon? I don't think so, man. He is who he is unapologetically, and that's why he is at where he is at.
Yeah, and that exactly. That's why he's at where he's at, and he's not the coach of the Lakers because that shit would have never flown.
Oh, what? Hey, Lake, quick. Boop, boop. Get out of here.
That's how you know. That's how you know that.
That
didn't pass the smell test, man. You look back at that shit, and you're like, come on, man.
There's no way your team hits a buzzer beater and you yelling the refs like, yeah, that's what you get. I told you. I was just like, oh.